Hello. All right, so we have our registers cut and organized and the holes punched in them. Now we need to prepare our cover. So for the cover, you can use cardboard right here. I have just some regular old corrugated cardboard from a box that something shipped in. Corrugated refers to this double multi-layered cardboard. There's the edge that has this up the middle, so that's corrugated cardboard. If you have an old sketchbook, the back or notepad or sketch pad, the back of it is usually some thicker chipboard, cardboard, something that makes a really good cover. You can also use a simple cereal box. So take the plastic bag with the cereal out and leave that in the pantry, and then take the box and break the bottom open so it lays out flat, and you can cut your covers out of that or any kind of box. Then we are going to cut out two separate rectangles to make our covers. This is a cereal box, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, and I covered it with scrapbook paper. So because our book here is 9 inches by 6 inches, we want our cover to be a little wider than our book so that it protects the edges. So because you don't want the pages of your book hanging out past the sturdier cover because they'll get damaged very easily. So we are going to cut our cover to be 6 3/4 inches by 9 1/2 inches. All right, that's the size of the cover. So in order to do this, if you are using thicker cardboard, it might be easier to use an X-Acto knife or a box knife if you have it. Be very careful of it. Follow my directions on how to use it so you don't cut yourself or break the blade or anything. Always make sure you have something underneath it, like a scrap piece of wood, board, masonite, or just another piece of cardboard so that you don't cut into any tables. Don't do it on the concrete outside. It will ruin and very likely break your knife. Do not do it on the carpet. It will cut the carpet, and it's also just hard to do it on the carpet. You don't have a very good it's not a good surface. So first, you need to start by making a line, straight line with your ruler. Use a straight edge. Then you need to make a right angle. So you can just get a scrap piece of paper, use the factory edge corner, a sticky note, not a corner you cut, a corner the machine cut, and trace the edge of it to get a right corner you can use, right angle. All right, so to make a parallel straight line, you need to measure 2 points. A line is 2 points that are connected. So I am going to, how wide is this? This is a little more than about 13 inches wide. I don't think I'm going to get both of my covers out of this piece of cardboard. I'm going to have to grab another piece of cardboard. So let's just measure the shorter side this way. So I'm going to measure 6 3/4. 6, there's a 1/2 inch, another 1/2 of a 1/2 inch. So 6 3/4, quarter shy of 7 inches. There's one mark. So go down a ways, line up the 0 mark with your line, and 6 3/4, oops, that's 6 1/2. 6 3/4 again. Line up those two marks with your ruler. Trace your line. Okay. Then this line, because this is a little line that I traced from corner of my paper. It's long enough. I'm going to very carefully line my ruler up with it and just extend that all the way down. I didn't make this line go far enough. I'm going to extend that one as well. All right, I have 3 sides. Going to turn this, measure 9.5. Again, I'm using 2 points. 9.5. Line it up. Connect it. All right. I've got one line of my table thing traced. So if you are using an X-Acto knife or a box knife of some kind, I am right-handed, so I'm going to be cutting with my right hand. So I want my ruler on the left side of the line. If I put my ruler on the right side of the line and I'm holding it still steady with my left, but I need to cut on the left side of the ruler, look, I am cutting into my fingers. Don't want to do that. So put the ruler on the left side. Spread your fingers like this so you have 2 pressure points. I am standing up because you can apply more pressure, you have more control. And then I am going to put my knife against the edge of my ruler. Make sure your fingers are on top of the ruler and not hanging off. If my thumb is hanging off like this and I'm cutting and not paying close attention, I am going to cut my thumb and it hurts. That is the most common injury when using any kind of box knife or X-Acto knife, any kind of utility knife, not paying attention to where your fingers are. So I'm going to trace that, lightly pressing the knife against my ruler. Don't press too hard though, or you will shave off pieces of the ruler, which I just did a little bit because it's just plastic. If you're using a box knife, you hold that over the top of it. You can hold X-Acto knives like that, although I usually prefer to hold it like this. And notice I'm going over the same line multiple times because this is a very thick material and I don't want to apply as much pressure as I can to do it all in one pass. I don't need to do that. That tends to leave a jagged line and it's really hard to do. So I just hold my ruler in place and go over it several times, 4 times before I move my ruler. All right, now I'm going to turn it. Never, ever try to cut like this, where your arm is sideways from your body. You always want to be, when you're cutting in this way, cutting down, you always want the knife to be pulling the knife towards you because you have more control, okay? Not going across or backwards or at some angle. You want to be holding it where you have the most control of it. So I'm going to line it up with my other line and cut that out. Now it feels like it went through. Turn it again, line it up, and cut. That bump you feel is because we are going across the corrugated cardboard in the middle, which is also why that cut takes more passes because we're going over each level of this. Turn it one more time, last side. If you have a cutting mat, feel free to use it, but cardboard or a scrap piece of masonite or wood works just as well. Just be careful you don't cut all the way through it too. Because I definitely cut into this cardboard here. I wouldn't have wanted that to be my table. And looks like I didn't quite cut through on this long edge and this corner. So because this is such a thick material, I can pretty easily retrace my line without a ruler. If you're worried about it though, you can line your ruler back up. I'm just going to go over that again. Always turn the material, not your hand. Not your hand like this. All right, did that go through? There we go. And it just pops out, and I have a pretty perfect rectangle there. And then I can use this as a template to trace my next one. I'm actually going to butt it right up against that because it cuts out one side that I don't have to cut again. So now this time I only have to cut 3. Notice I spread my hand again. So I have multiple contact points applying pressure evenly so it's not going to spin. If I have my ruler and I'm only holding it right here, as I push against it to draw my line, it moves. And now I have a real crazy looking line. So I have both my covers cut out now.